Welcome to part 3 of the Christopher Columbus presentation. Okay, I've done part 1 in which I show how no one really knows the accurate and true story about Christopher Columbus. In part 2, I show who Christopher Columbus is, and I do this by using Luya etymology. And part 3 will be focused on answering questions many might have about who stole the wealth, how did they do it, how have they managed to go undetected all this time. It talks about misappropriation, murder, vilification. Okay, so this is the new story. The Christians of Ikolomani, the Latter-day Saints. I'm not talking about the saints, the Utah religion. I'm just talking about the Christians of Ikolomani, the saints who got lost or disappeared in there or assimilated. They're the ones who exposed the serpents, so the parasites, who stole the wealth, Inda, after they broke up the land and the continent. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you is it will only make sense if you've watched the Earth series that I did, so you might want to watch that before or after this so that everything makes sense. So I keep on saying that the Earth was attacked. That's how it was broken up when they stole the wealth. That's how they stole the wealth. And so there's this misalignment occurred, this piece here. Okay, that's the true North Pole and the celestial North Pole need to be all together. They're not supposed to be separated. This is what creates the wobble on the Earth. And just now I've had a revelation. I know what that wobble is, and I'll do a video on that. So the same image with less detail. This is it. So that's a piece. Yeah, looks like a piece, pizza piece. Okay, but this piece sounds like peace, the peace sign, you know. Nothing new under the sun. They just keep on playing around with signs, symbols, shapes, figures, sounds. We learn all these things in kinder, but we're not taught the right way. Okay, like this game that kids like to play, it's still tapping into that. Okay, and that's the peace sign. We think they're saying peace. Nope, they're saying peace. They have a piece of your wealth, a piece of your trust, all these signs. And the earth of the ship has this sign. That's the anchor. Okay, the same thing. That's it. Okay. So you see, this is why I say it's so confusing. It's true, but it's not accurate. So is it peace or peace or pizza? And in Luya that means something different, but I don't want to just get lost over here explaining that. So I want you to look at this. The same thing. This is a pizza with the piece taken out. And there was that big Pizzagate deal with the Hillary Clinton. Pizzagate. So this gate needs to be closed. The celestial North Pole and the true North Pole need to come together to close this gate. Because you have this piece controlling the whole of this piece. So you have that, is it 1% controlling the rest of the world with the wealth? Okay, I'm just trying to show, giving a more esoteric context of the wealth being stolen. Okay, now let's look at who these parasites are. Okay, these are the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati that run the world. And I will do a separate video on these 13 bloodlines. You know, we are the ones who restore this world. Okay, we have to do it. We have to literally find this money and give it back to whom it belongs to. The land is the trust. Okay, so I'll just, there's several and I have to get them accurate before I present them because some of the names they have out there are not accurate. Okay, but the Rothschild is accurate. Astor is accurate. Onassis, I think is accurate. DuPont, I have to check. I think Kennedy is accurate, but I'll check all that before I present it. So these are the people who are holding that wealth, these 13 Illuminati bloodlines. And you see that compares with the 13 Luya tribes. So I'll look at Rothschild and Astor. Okay, so one of the Luya dialects are the Rama, the Marama, reduced to Rama, RM. One of the clans in this people is Abashirotsa or Abarotsa. Okay, this means the Rotsas, this means of the Rotsa. Okay, so the parasites holding their wealth are the Rothschild and the Astors. It is that simple. Okay, it is simple but not easy. So it's simple, we know who's holding what. Now the hard part is getting it back. Okay, let me break down that. So Shirotsa, Abarotsa, the or of Rotsa. Shirotsa is Rothschild, literally Roth's child. Roth's child. Okay. Rotsa. Abarotsa is Shirotsa. This is just an spelled backwards. Rotsa. Rotsa. So these are the parasites holding the wealth. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, these are the Rothschild homes. The thieved homes, the thievery. That's the Astor home. So they have stolen the wealth. These servants are the serpents who are the servants. Okay, and Ecclesiastes 10:7 says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. It's been flipped upside down. It's not even a joke. That's true. You know, it's not just a saying. It's true. We are living in literal times and everything is going to turn out to be literally true. And we have to be like children, otherwise we'll miss it. So these people have stolen the wealth from this. Okay, you have these African children wandering around in the streets, lost and clueless, while their wealth is being held by these reptiles, these parasites. Okay. So these saints were the trustees. They were entrusted not only with the wealth, but the knowledge, spirituality, the laws. And this was parasitically stolen and misappropriated and expropriated by the serpents, the reptiles, the parasites, the pirates. Again, if you look at the code words, you can already see what's going on. This is, I think, from that movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. And if you watched The Earth as a Ship, you know, this octopi, it's crazy. But that's who they are. This is the Skull and Bones Society. And this is George Bush. So really the pirates are the presidents. And Genesis 3:1 says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? What does subtle mean? Elusive, cunning, crafty. John 8:44, You are your father the devil. You are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Those are the people who stole, the thieves. So what's misappropriation? Is to appropriate wrongly, as by theft or embezzlement. Synonyms you can pause and go through, but it's to steal, to thieve. In law, misappropriation is defined as the unauthorized, improper, or unlawful use of funds or other property for purposes other than that for which intended. Expropriation is the action of the state in taking or modifying the property rights of an individual in the exercise of its sovereignty. The state does not do anything. The government does not do anything. These are fictitious entities. It's the people who do the things. Okay? But when they put state, it kind of separates them from the action they're doing, and then you don't go after them. These institutions are destroying us, because we start trying to interact with the institution when it's nothing. It's a ghost. It's the person behind the institution that we need to confront, but we're stuck between confronting the person and dealing with the constitution. What are synonyms? It's arrogation, commandeering, appropriation, detainer, preemption, seizure, takeover, usurpation. They usurp the wealth and the control of the wealth. So the Christians are the saints who are the trustees who are entrusted by God, who is the benefactor of all, to take care of his children. Again, like I said, they were entrusted with the laws, wealth, spirituality, and knowledge. And I just need to do a whole series on knowledge, how it was usurped, and how being in the wrong hands is causing problems in the world right now. Who's a trustee? It's a person to whom property is legally committed to be administered for the benefit of a beneficiary, like the children. Okay, and you can pause and read that. What is a trustee? A trustee holds or manages cash, assets, or a property title for a beneficiary. The trustee has a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the beneficiary. These are the beneficiaries. And even the trustees have nothing to do. They can't do anything because it's been stolen from them. So it's like you've seen these mothers with their children, even fathers, just parents, even grandparents, and they cannot do anything. It's because it's been stolen from them. That's why it's imperative for us to come together to restore this kingdom. Because those thugs are murderers, and they will die protecting that wealth that they stole. A trustee is a person or firm that holds and administers property or assets for the benefit of a third party. Okay, that's just more definitions of a trustee. So now this brings me to reparation, restoration, and restitution, which is due to the true legitimate heirs. Because that wealth has to be restored, and that's what's happening. We are in that time. Okay? What's propitiation? Propitiation is the act of gaining or regaining the favor of goodwill, or goodwill of someone or something. The act of propitiating, it's an appeasement. Sorry guys, I'm making so many mistakes. I've been at this for a long time. Sorry. Okay, in the Bible, 1 John 4:10 says, Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. 1 John 2:2, and he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. So after the attack on the world, by these parasites, these serpents, these reptiles, that is when Jesus was sent. Because, okay, that's a whole new topic that I don't want to start now. So we know it's coming back to the truth because we have the House bill, was it a bill? In the US Congress, the commission was set up to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. Okay? And these African Americans, I know people keep on thinking, oh, will every other person get it? There's particular heirs. It doesn't matter where they are or how they're labeled. They have to get their wealth back. It doesn't matter what landmass they're on. Ultimately, the wealth has to be restored. Okay? So I hope it makes sense. Who stole? How it's going back to normal? And how they've been going underground. How do they do that? You know, how do they blend in with us? That's by genetic appropriation and cultural appropriation. Look at this image. These are the ancient unedited images. But when you look at these people currently, they look different than that. So that's part of the lies, the murderers, the lies, the appropriation. Okay? So these people, the saints, have been misappropriated, have been vilified, have been killed. These people have done whatever it takes to keep a hold of that wealth, to stay with that wealth. Okay? So let's look at cultural misappropriation. This is from a movie. I keep on forgetting the name. But many of you are familiar with it.
Notice, if you will,
I hope.
The half-caste child. And there are ever-increasing numbers of them.
This is genetic.
Now, what is to happen to them? Are we to allow the creation of an unwanted third race? Should the coloureds be encouraged to go back to the black? Or should they be advanced to white status and be absorbed in the white population? Now, time and again, I am asked by some white man, if I marry this coloured person, will our children be black? And as Chief Protector of Aborigines, it is my responsibility to accept or reject those marriages.
This is why they want you to have a marriage license. They want to monitor who you marry.
Is the answer. 3 generations. Half-blood grandmother, quadroon daughter, octoroon grandson. Now, as you can see, in the 3rd generation, or 3rd cross, no trace of native origin is apparent. The continuing infiltration of white blood finally stamps out the black color. The Aboriginal has simply been bred out. Now, we come to the Moore River Native Settlement. Ladies, most of you are familiar with our work here. The training of domestic servants and farm laborers. I would like to thank you for your continuing support. Hundreds of half-caste children have been gathered up and brought here to be given the benefit of everything our culture has to offer. For if we are to fit and train such children for the future, they cannot be left as they are. And in spite of himself, the native must be helped.
That scene is just from a movie, but this next clip I play is in real life. So that does happen, did happen, is still happening. It's about 3 minutes long, this clip.
A very important thing from that is we are still dealing with that today. I get invited to high schools to talk to students, say for instance year 10, 11 and 12. We have Aboriginal people within here where I'm living now, in Brisbane, all over Australia. And other white children in the class, when they say they're Aboriginal, they look and say, you can't be Aboriginal, you're nearly as white as me. Interesting. That child may be very, very fair. Look at me, I'm fair. My government files, I'm a light-skinned half-caste, getting closer to octoroon. Interesting. Now, why were we graded like that? Because the Royal Society of London found out in the early 1800s we are one of the only, I think the only black race in the world, I could be corrected on that, who could be successfully bred out in 2 to 3 generations. And you think, well, how on earth could that happen? Well, science believes that we have a recessive gene in our skin pigmentation. If anyone's seen that movie Rabbit Proof Fence, very interesting. I use that in my lectures in humanities, and I have it in America and I have it all through Europe now. I'm going to read you a quote. I was born 1947, so I'm 66. Now, things hadn't changed till 1967 with the referendum. And now, the theory of breeding out, I'm going to read this to you. Once again from Blood on the Wattle. It says, A.O. Neville, a Western Australian Commissioner of Native Affairs. Remember, each state had a Commissioner of Native Affairs under the Aboriginal and Opium Protection Act. They were supposed to protect our people. Claimed in 1947 that he had the scientific solution to the Aboriginal problem. That scientific solution really hit home to me because 3 years before that, Hitler had the same scientific solution for the Jewish race of people. This was after that. Scientific research, he claimed, had revealed that the skin pigmentation could be bred out of Aboriginals in 2 to 3 generations. If only he could have the money and the legislative power to start a selective breeding program, he could, in a matter of 60 to 70 years, solve the Aboriginal problem. We were a problem by breeding a race of white Aboriginals. And this is the part of that White Australia policy to keep Australia pure white British stock. So then when you start to realise that, you go back to our missions and our reserves, and we had dormitories, I mentioned before, boys and girls. And in those dormitories, children were removed, excuse me, because of their lightness of their skin in most cases to start with. And so we then could be Christianised and civilised. So that breeding out assimilation program. So what do we get called? Half-caste, quarter-caste, quadroon, octoroon, down to 126. When we go to our remote communities, when I get up to Arakun, Pomparel, Kawanyama, hey, my brother, you little creamy colour one, eh? So we go creamy colour, rusty colour, khaki colour, yellow colour. We survive in that humour and wit. But that's how we were graded under that structure of breeding out.
Okay, so this is what they do. This is how they misappropriate. This is how they drive out the legitimate heirs. Why do white Americans love to claim native ancestry so much? Why do they do? I read an article which I could not find that said that every first lady of America claimed native ancestry so that they can claim true ownership to the land. I need to find that article. I hope I can find it and link it. So when Pocahontas over here was saying that, she just wasn't saying it as a joke. They're required to do that, those rituals they go through. And maybe she's part, you know, how they've bred out people and you have that 0.11%. Okay. This man was notorious for human experimentation, and I was going to go through all this, but I won't for the sake of time, but you can, it's from Wikipedia. I just want you to see that he was born in 1911, like 9/11. His nicknames were Angel of Death. He used to experiment on people and even children, like he was playing with the rag dolls. So it's an interesting read. Okay, so the other thing they did with the trustees and beneficiaries, they killed them. John 8:44, they're murderers. They just annihilated them. They're still killing people right, left, and center. We know that. We see it all the time on the news. Okay, in the hospitals, in prisons, in schools. The food you buy, it's poisoned. They're still doing it. The water you drink, poisoned. Okay. So we have these catacombs of Rome, and the original inhabitants of Rome are not who's there right now. They've been killed, bred out, or assimilated by force. So we have all these skeletons. Where do you think they came from? Huh? I keep on wondering whether these are our ancestors that were murdered. We have the Catacombs of Paris, the same thing. See, when the lands broke off, some of the lands obviously were smaller and had few populations. So it was possible to kill and destroy those people and just wipe them out clean because they couldn't put up a fight. First of all, there's a shock element, and then you're fewer people, you're isolated, you know? So I think that is what happened. It's just that if it's the same way if somebody mugs you and you're isolated, you're alone, you're overpowered, they'll destroy you. So I still think these people are our ancestors. We need to do the DNA, we need to give them proper rest, proper send-off. Because if they don't get a proper send-off, we won't be able to advance as we should. We'll just be stuck going around in circles. Okay, the skull and bones, the ones that I showed you, the George Bush, Yale. I remember when I wanted to go to Yale so badly. Thank God I didn't. Okay. Just killing people. Mass grave uncovered. 350,800 dead. Mass grave in Ireland is thought to contain 800 children. And I will do really pretty soon a presentation on Ireland, England, Scotland, Rome, France, who are the original inhabitants. I'll do that so you know who they were killing. Canadian mass grave prompts investigation into US boarding schools. Bodies of 400 children discovered in hidden mass grave at Catholic orphanage. These orphanages, see, we need to start taking care of our own instead of turning them over to strangers. God will punish us greatly for doing that. For turning over his children to strangers who murder them, kill them, rape them. Somebody needs to go out there and say, today is the day we have no more orphanages, we don't have any strange people coming in to raise our children and fondle them and rape them and steal them and murder them. These orphanages, these refugee centers, let me stop. Okay. These are the John 8:44 people. You are of your father. You are of your father, the devil. And the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Okay? What else did they do to the saints? They vilified them. Have you seen how they run the political campaigns? Just vilifying the other person. I mean, if I was running for office, I would say what I can do, what I've done, why I think I can do it. I would never say I can do it because he's stupid or because she's dumb. No. But that's what they do because they have nothing to sell. Nothing. They're incapable. So they engage in propaganda, smear, and slander. And I talked about propaganda as a tool of warfare in the Vaccine Agenda series, which are actually posted on Rumble. But I have the link in the YouTube channel. So what's propaganda? It's the spreading of ideas, information, or rumor for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a person, or a cause. These are ideas, facts, or allegations spread deliberately to further one's cause or to damage an opposing cause. That's what propaganda is. Like, nobody knows what Christopher Columbus is all about. They hate him. Some love him, but mostly they hate him. There's that confusion. So the cause is damaged already because they want to distract from the truth. Because if the story stayed straight, what would you do? You'd follow it to the end. You'd follow the rabbit hole to the end. But no. So you stuck here arguing, Christopher Columbus, or was it? And you can't even find the truth because the contexts are so mixed up. I mean, even if you're an astute studious person, it's not easy, you know. Anyway, what's a smear campaign? It's a tactic, also referred to simply as smear, that is engaged in an effort to damage or call into question someone's reputation by propounding negative propaganda. It makes use of discrediting tactics. So they just discredit you right, left, and center. Okay? What is slander? It's to defame. It's the utterance of false charges or misrepresentations which defame and damage another's reputation. So there's people who just will never even bother to know what Christopher Columbus is because of what they've been taught. So schools are weapons. Okay? Oh, in school they said he was this, so that's what he was. He must have been that. Schools are making us dumber. Okay? So slander is a false or defamatory oral statement about a person. Okay? But now we're in the age of revelation, and we are coming back to the truth. When the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall lay the dragon that is in slay the dragon that is in the sea. Revelation 22, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So what have we seen? Is that they stole the wealth, they killed whom they could kill off, then there was forced assimilation, misappropriation, breeding out, which is genetic misappropriation. They slandered, propagandized, is that a word? Smeared the people. So they distract from the narrative. So first of all, you don't know who the original heirs are, who the original trustees are, because they have so confounded and confused the story. But on top of that, they take that narrative and turn it on its head, upside down. It really will take the discerning to know what the truth is. Okay? We are in the age of revelation. This is the age where the truth is being communicated, the divine truth, like the divine platform, this divine platform is uncovering the divine truth. Truth is being revealed by God to humans. We are gods. I am making things known. Many of them will be enlightening and astonishing. I'm sure this story about Christopher Columbus is quite astonishing. Definitely enlightening. Okay? Because the truth is out there, but piecing it together takes really God's inspiration. Okay? So restoration of the kingdom of God involves restitution, which is being put back together in the right position. The royals have to go where they're supposed to be. The serpents have to go back where they're supposed to be. And reparations, which is being compensated for what's legitimately yours. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I hope this story is actually my version of the story, based on fact, like I've shown you, is enlightening. Please like, share, subscribe, so that more people can come into this divine truth that is revealed here on the divine platform. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.